At the beginning, everything feels easy. You make a plan. You feel motivated. You imagine the results. For a moment, it feels like your life is about to change. You wake up early. You start the routine. You feel focused and disciplined. But a few days later, something shifts. The excitement fades. The routine feels heavier. The energy disappears. And slowly you stop. The plan that once felt powerful becomes another unfinished attempt. Most people think this happens because they lack discipline, but psychology shows something different. The problem isn't discipline, it's how the brain reacts to novelty. When you begin something new, your brain releases a large amount of dopamine. Dopamine isn't happiness, it's anticipation. It's the chemical that fuels excitement about the future. That's why the beginning of any goal feels powerful. Your brain is imagining the reward, the new body, the successful career, the organized life. But imagination is easy, execution is different. Once the novelty fades, the brain stops releasing that early dopamine surge. And suddenly, the task feels harder. Nothing about the task changed. Your brain's reward system changed. This is the first trap. People mistake excitement for commitment. Excitement is temporary. Commitment is structural. The brain loves beginnings because beginnings feel safe. Beginnings don't require proof. Beginnings don't expose failure. Beginnings allow you to keep the fantasy alive. But progress demands repetition. And repetition feels boring. The brain is wired to seek novelty. That's why new ideas feel exciting. But sustained effort removes novelty, replaces excitement with routine. And routine feels emotionally flat. Most people interpret this flatness as loss of motivation, so they stop. Then they search for a new idea, a new routine, a new strategy, a new plan, and the cycle repeats. This is called the novelty loop. Your brain becomes addicted to starting, because starting feels good. Finishing requires tolerating boredom. There's another psychological factor involved: identity. When you begin a goal, you imagine becoming a new version of yourself, a disciplined person, a focused person, productive person. But your current identity hasn't changed yet. Your habits still belong to the old version of you, so there's conflict. Your goals belong to your future identity, but your behavior belongs to your present identity. When the early excitement fades, the brain defaults back to familiar patterns. Not because they're better, but because they're familiar. The brain prioritizes stability over ambition. That's why people start intense routines and quit after 2 weeks. They tried to jump into a new identity too quickly. The nervous system resists sudden identity shifts. Another reason people stop midway is emotional friction. At the beginning, goals exist in imagination. But after a few days, reality appears. Effort becomes real. Mistakes appear. Progress feels slower than expected. The brain begins questioning the goal. Is this worth it? Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I'll start again next week. These thoughts feel logical, but they're emotional resistance disguised as reasoning. The brain is trying to return to comfort. Comfort requires no uncertainty. Growth always does. There's also the issue of reward timing. Most meaningful goals have delayed rewards. Studying today doesn't show results tomorrow. Working out today doesn't transform your body next week. Building something meaningful takes time. But the modern brain is trained for immediate reward. Scrolling provides instant novelty. Notifications provide instant feedback. Entertainment provides instant stimulation. So when a task offers no immediate reward, the brain sees it as low priority. This creates the motivation crash. At first, the excitement carried you. Then reality arrives. Without immediate reward, the brain disengages. But there's an even deeper reason this happens. People focus too much on outcomes. They imagine the result, not the process. They want the transformation. But they underestimate the repetition required to get there. When reality reveals the repetition, motivation drops. Because repetition feels ordinary. Ordinary doesn't feel exciting. But finishing something requires learning to tolerate ordinary effort. Success is rarely dramatic. It's repetitive. The people who finish things are not necessarily more motivated. They're more tolerant of boredom. They don't chase excitement. They protect consistency. It's also something called the middle dip. Psychologists have observed that motivation is highest at the beginning and near the end. But the middle feels hardest because the novelty is gone. The finish line still feels far away. That middle phase is where most people quit, not because they can't finish, but because they underestimate the psychological weight of the middle. The solution isn't more motivation. It's designing systems that survive motivation loss. Reduce the difficulty of continuing. Shrink the daily effort. Lower the friction of starting. Make the habit easier than quitting. Small consistency beats intense beginnings. Another important shift is changing how you measure progress. Most people track results: weight lost, money earned, tasks completed. But results take time. If you only measure results, you feel stuck. Instead, measure consistency. Days you showed up, minutes you worked, petitions you completed. Consistency is visible immediately. Visible progress reinforces behavior. Finally, understand this. Starting strong is easy. Anyone can do that. Finishing requires emotional stability. It requires accepting that most days will feel normal. Not inspiring, not exciting, just normal. But normal effort repeated long enough creates extraordinary results. The people who finish things don't rely on motivation. They rely on structure. They show up when it feels good, when it doesn't. They understand that excitement begins goals, but consistency finishes them. If you constantly start strong but never finish, it doesn't mean you're incapable. It means your brain is still chasing excitement. But real progress begins when you stop chasing excitement and start protecting consistency.